The Verail Imperium had expanded across 17 star systems without meaningful resistance. Their biomechanical vessels, perfect unions of living tissue and machine, outclassed all other spacefaring races' technology by centuries. Admiral Krez Tor stood on the command deck of the Endless Dominion, his 8-limbed form draped in ceremonial metals harvested from conquered worlds. Another system assimilated, reported Sub-Commander Iplith, her translucent skin pulsing with bioluminescent. Satisfaction? The Jexari offered minimal resistance. Their orbital platforms fell within 6 hours. Krez Tar's upper eye membranes tightened in what passed for a smile among his kind. The pattern continues. These younger races build their civilizations on outdated principles of physics. They cannot comprehend the quantum-fold drive or our regenerative hull technology. The Verail had never encountered a true challenge. Their scientists had cracked the secrets of the universe's underlying architecture 3 millennia ago, while these newer species still fumbled with primitive warp mechanics and laser weaponry. The conquest of the galaxy was merely an administrative exercise at this point. "Alert," announced the ship's neural network. "Unknown vessel approaching from Sector 9. Iplith's secondary appendages twitched with mild interest. Classification? Unknown. Configuration does not match any known species profile. Krez Tar felt the unfamiliar stirring of curiosity. Visual. The display materialized, showing a small, irregular craft of dull metallic construction. It appeared almost primitive, no obvious weapons arrays, minimal shielding signatures, and a propulsion system that seemed rudimentary at best. "A probe? An automated mining vessel?" mused Iplith. "Curious," responded Krez Tar. "It's transmitting on multiple frequencies. Open a channel." The communication was surprisingly clear, not the static-filled transmissions they typically received. "From lesser species. This is Captain Meridian Voss of the Earth vessel Tenacity. We are aware of your actions in this sector. The subjugation stops here." Krez Tar's secondary heart quickened with amusement. "A single vessel. Scan for reinforcements." "None detected, Admiral," confirmed Iplith. "The nearest inhabited system is 12 light-years distant." "Earth," Krez Tar repeated. "Their species designation?" "Human," replied the neural network. "Bipedal mammalian species. Technological development. Class 3. Unremarkable." The Admiral's membranes folded into patterns of dismissive contempt. "It appears this human does not understand the situation. Inform Captain Voss that resistance is pointless and surrender is the only rational option." Iplith transmitted the message. The response came immediately. "We understand the situation perfectly," replied the human. "Perhaps it is you who needs enlightenment." The Tenacity suddenly accelerated, its previously unremarkable engines flaring with unexpected energy signatures. "Weapons lock," warned the neural network. "Unknown targeting systems activated." "Impossible," Iplith hissed. "Their technology is primitive." Before Krez Tar could issue orders, the human vessel launched something toward the Endless Dominion. Not a missile or energy weapon, but a small, pulsing device that attached itself to their hull. "Minimal impact damage," reported the neural network. "Device appears to be—" The network went silent. Every console on the command deck suddenly displayed the same message in perfect Vralic script. "Your reckoning has arrived as systems began." Failing throughout the flagship, Krez Tar realized the unfathomable. The Verail Imperium, for the first time in its glorious history, faced a threat it didn't understand. The Endless Dominion shuddered as emergency protocols engaged. Backup systems flared to life, then mysteriously powered down again. Across the command deck, the Verail officer's bioluminescence flickered in patterns of confusion and nascent fear. "Neural network compromised," Iplith reported, her voice struggling to maintain its customary calm. "The human device appears to be integrating with our systems at a molecular level." Krez Tar's 4 primary arms gripped his command pedestal. "Impossible. Our technology is self-healing, self-protecting." No lesser species could— Incoming transmission, interrupted a subordinate. Captain Meridian Voss appeared on the main display, standing confidently on a bridge that suddenly didn't look primitive at all. Behind the human stood a diverse crew, some clearly not human, but working in perfect coordination. Admiral Krez-Tor, I presume? Voss's expression carried no malice, only determination. Your confusion is understandable. You've never encountered adaptive mimicry before. Explain yourself, demanded Krez-Tor, all 4 primary hearts now racing. The Tenacity is an infiltration vessel. We present exactly what your sensors expect to see until we choose not to. Voss gestured around the bridge. Humanity may be young by your standards, but we're quick studies and excellent collaborators. For the first time, Krez-Tor noticed that several crew members on the human vessel were species the Vrail had conquered years ago. You've made a critical error in your conquest strategy, continued Voss. You assume technological superiority equals inevitable victory, but you've overlooked something fundamental. Your ship is still only 1 against our armada, countered Krez-Tor. This temporary advantage means nothing. Voss smiled. That's where you're wrong. The device we attached isn't a weapon. It's a teacher. Across the 17 star systems of the Vrail Imperium, thousands of subjugated worlds received simultaneous transmissions, detailed schematics of Vrail technology, defensive configurations, and strategic weaknesses. We call it the Liberty Protocol, explained Voss. Right now, every conquered species is learning how your seemingly magical technology actually works. The mystique of Vrail invincibility ends today. Krez-Tor felt something unfamiliar, cold dread forming in his fluid sacs. You cannot possibly understand our technology well enough to— Oh, but we do, interrupted Voss. Lieutenant Oryx, demonstrate, please. A crew member with distinctive Jexari features nodded and tapped several controls. Suddenly, the Tenacity's hull rippled and transformed, taking on the distinctive biomechanical appearance of a Vrail vessel. Perfect mimicry, down to the quantum level, Voss explained. We've been studying you for years, hiding in plain sight. Humans excel at understanding our enemies. Iplith rushed to Krez-Tor's side. Admiral, we're receiving reports. Rebellion on 6 conquered worlds already. They're using our own defense systems against our garrisons. The revelation hit Krez-Tor with physical force. Humans hadn't just built a weapon. They'd created a revolution. Your conquest was easy because you faced isolated, unprepared worlds, said Voss. But humanity has united them. And now, Admiral, you face something truly terrifying— hope. As alarms blared across the endless dominion, Krez-Tor made a decision unprecedented in Vrail military doctrine. Retreat. The flagship disengaged, attempting to quantum fold away from the human vessel. Nothing happened. Drive failure, reported a panicked technician. The quantum matrices are locked. On screen, Captain Voss watched with calm interest. Attempting to escape. The Liberty Protocol doesn't just reveal your technology, it restricts it. Your quantum fold drive requires 16 perfectly synchronized dimensional calculations. We've introduced a 17th variable. Krez-Tor's primary limbs trembled with rage. You cannot comprehend— Actually, interrupted a new voice. We comprehend quite thoroughly. A different human stepped into view beside Captain Voss. Older, with silver-streaked hair and eyes that held the weight of decades of calculation. Admiral, meet Dr. Ilara Frost, said Voss, the architect of your current predicament. Dr. Frost nodded slightly. 10 years ago, one of your scouting vessels destroyed a small research outpost near what you call the Heracles boundary. You considered it insignificant, just another primitive installation to be eliminated during your preliminary surveys. Krez-Tor's membranes flickered in confusion. We have eliminated thousands of— That outpost was my home, Frost continued, her voice steady. My family, my colleagues, gone in an instant. But I survived, and I made a promise while drifting in an escape pod. Your empire would face consequences. One human's vengeance? Scoffed Krez Tower, though his confidence was rapidly failing. No, replied Frost. One human's determination, multiplied by thousands. While your Imperium expanded, I built something too, a network. The tactical display on the Endless Dominion suddenly illuminated with hundreds of signal sources, vessels appearing from nowhere, emerging from the shadow of moons, from asteroid fields, from within gas giants' atmospheres. For years, we've operated in your blind spots, explained Voss. Humans and representatives from every world you've conquered, studying, planning, building. Dr. Frost created a unified resistance while you were busy celebrating victory. Iplith scans confirmed the impossible. Admiral, these ships are appearing everywhere, throughout all 17 systems simultaneously. Dr. Frost's expression remained calm. The Liberty Protocol isn't just technological, Admiral. It's psychological. Every subjugated species now understands that the Vrail can be defeated. The mystique is shattered. On worlds across the Imperium, dormant resistance cells activated. Hidden weapons emerged from underground bunkers. Communication systems, secretly modified years ago, bypassed Vrail control networks. Your conquest was impressive, admitted Captain Voss. But humans have millennia of experience with something you've never mastered. Insurgency. For the first time in his long career, Admiral Krez's Tor felt the unfamiliar sensation of being outmaneuvered. The Vrail had conquered through overwhelming technological superiority and the psychological impact of seeming invincible. Both advantages had just been neutralized by a species they had barely noticed. The Vrail High Command received Admiral Krez Tor's emergency transmission with disbelief. The feed from the Endless Dominion showed the unthinkable, their flagship immobilized, their neural network compromised, and the beginnings of synchronized rebellion across multiple systems. On the homeworld of Vrailex Prime, Supreme Overseer, Desmaran convened an emergency session of the Dominion Council. How can primitives possess such technology? Demanded Council Elder Niftar. Our intelligence indicated these humans barely mastered interstellar travel a century ago. Desmaran's inner membranes pulsated with fury. Activate the Purge Protocol. We will obliterate this infection before it spreads. Across the Imperium, the most destructive weapons in the Vrail arsenal powered up, quantum disruptors capable of reducing entire planets to elemental particles. Back on the Endless Dominion, Krez Tower received the coded command with grim satisfaction. Captain Voss, your resistance is admirable but ultimately futile. Observe. He transmitted the activation sequence to the nearest quantum disruptor, targeted at the recently rebellious Jexari homeworld. The massive orbital platform oriented toward the planet, its core beginning to glow with actinic energy. On the view screen, Voss and Dr. Frost exchanged looks not of horror but of anticipation. You still don't understand, said Frost. We've been preparing for this moment for years. The quantum disruptor fired, and the destructive beam bent impossibly in space, curving back toward its source. The Vrail weapon platform disintegrated in a flash of light. Dimensional redirection, explained Frost. Your weapons operate by creating quantum instabilities. We simply added a reflective parameter to the equation. Across the Imperium, every quantum disruptor that fired suffered the same fate, destroyed by its own energy as desperate Vrail commanders triggered their doomsday weapons. Impossible, whispered Krez Tor. Our greatest scientists spent centuries perfecting those weapons. And we spent decades understanding their fundamental flaws, replied Frost. You see, Admiral, humans approach problems differently. Your species develops technology through continuous refinement of existing principles. We tend to look for the unexpected solution, the vulnerability no one else notices. Voss stepped forward. The Liberty Network isn't just a resistance movement. It's an entirely new approach to interstellar cooperation. Every species brings unique perspectives. The Jexari understand radiation harmonics. The Pelth can visualize six-dimensional space. The Ganari possess incredible material science. And humans? Asked Krestor, suddenly needing to understand. We connect the dots, said Voss simply. We see patterns. We imagine possibilities that haven't happened yet. And most importantly, we've mastered the art of the tactical retreat. For the first time, confusion registered in Krestar's posture. You assumed our lack of resistance meant weakness, explained Frost. In reality, we were gathering information every time you conquered a world. Each of your victories added another species to our alliance, another perspective to our understanding of your technology. The implications dawned on Krestar with devastating clarity. The Vrail hadn't been conquering isolated primitive species. They had been methodically united a coalition against themselves. One human vessel had indeed become their reckoning, but behind it stood the combined ingenuity of 17 conquered worlds, finally revealing their true power. The Vrail command structure, once a model of efficiency, descended into chaos. For the first time in their 1,000-year expansion, they faced not just defeat but systematic rebellion. The quantum communications network that bound their empire together became their greatest vulnerability. Every tactical decision, every desperate countermeasure was intercepted and neutralized before implementation. On the endless Dominion, Admiral Krestor watched as his mighty vessel's systems continued to fail. Emergency power fluctuated. Life support functioned at minimal capacity. The biomechanical components of the ship, living tissue designed to repair damage, had gone dormant. Your vessels are magnificent achievements, admitted Dr. Frost, still visible on the failing view screen. Biological components bonded with quantum-linked machinery, creating self-healing structures that adapt to damage. But they have one critical weakness. Our ships have no weaknesses, insisted Krestor, though his voice lacked conviction. They rely on a specific frequency of neural communication between organic and mechanical systems, explained Frost. Disrupt that frequency, and the partnership fails. The Liberty Protocol introduces a discordant signal, like static that prevents clear communication. Captain Voss stepped forward. Admiral, we're not here to destroy your fleet. We're here to end your conquest. Surrender now, and we can avoid further bloodshed. Krestar's pride battled with his tactical assessment. The Vrail had never surrendered. It wasn't part of their military doctrine, but neither was failure. Across the 17 systems, the pattern repeated itself. Rebellions coordinated through the human-engineered Liberty Network attacked with unexpected precision, former enemies united against their common oppressor. Species the Vrail had conquered decades ago revealed technologies they had hidden during occupation, technologies specifically designed to counter Vrail advantages. On Jexari Prime, crystalline defense towers, dormant for years, rose from underground bunkers. On Pelth Monar, seemingly decorative orbital sculptures transformed into weapon platforms. The aquatic Ganari deployed submersible carriers that had been disguised as coral reefs. Every conquered species adapted, explained Voss. They learned to hide their true capabilities, to present the appearance of submission while preparing for this day. Humanity merely provided the coordination, the signal to act simultaneously. The once mighty Vrail Armada found itself outmaneuvered on all fronts. Their tactical doctrine, based on overwhelming technological superiority, had no contingency for an enemy that understood their technology better than they did themselves. We've studied your history, Admiral, continued Voss. The Vrail were once peaceful explorers. Your militarization began only after the cataclysm of Vralex Secundus. You became conquerors out of fear that what destroyed your second homeworld might someday threaten your first. Krestar's inner membranes pulsed with shock. No outsider should know of that ancient tragedy. How could you possibly? Because we found the records you thought were destroyed, interrupted Dr. Frost. We know what really happened, and we know the Vrail can be more than conquerors again. For the first time in the confrontation, genuine uncertainty crept into Krez Tower's posture. The humans didn't just understand Vrail technology, they understood Vrail history, Vrail motivation. They had looked beyond the fearsome exterior to the core of what had driven the Imperium's expansion. And in that moment, Krez Tower recognized the true power of humanity. Not their weapons or technology, but their comprehension, their empathy, their ability to see patterns not just in machines, but in minds. Silence pervaded the command deck of the Endless Dominion as Admiral Krez Tower faced the most difficult decision of his long career. Around him, his officers watched with membranes. Pulsing in anxiety, the emotional state of uncertainty was almost foreign to their species. "Show me," Krez Tower finally said, his voice barely audible. "Show me these records you claim to have found." Captain Voss nodded to Dr. Frost, who transmitted a data packet directly to Krez Tower's personal console. The information that appeared made his primary heart stutter in their rhythm. Archaeological data, gravitational readings, radiation patterns, fragment analysis. The evidence was undeniable. The cataclysm of Vrailex Secundus had not been caused by an aggressive alien species as Vrail history recorded. It had been a natural stellar event, a rare subspace eruption that destroyed their second colony world. The militarization of the Vrail was based on a misinterpretation, explained Frost gently. Your ancestors, grieving the loss of billions, looked for someone to blame. When they found no culprit, they determined that the only path to safety was domination of all potential threats. "How did you discover this?" asked Krez Tower, his voice hollow. The Liberty Network includes archaeologists, astrophysicists, and historians from 17 species, replied Voss. Working together, they pieced together what actually happened from fragments of data scattered across conquered worlds. Across the Imperium, the coordinated rebellion had reached a critical point. On dozens of worlds, Vrail military commanders faced the same choice Krez Tower now confronted. Continue a fight they were suddenly losing, or consider the unthinkable: peace. "Admiral," said Voss, leaning closer to the screen, "humanity has faced extinction-level events throughout our history. We understand the fear that drives preemptive aggression, but we've learned there's strength in diversity, in cooperation, in combining perspectives. The Liberty Network offers the Vrail a place at the table," added Dr. Frost. "Not as conquerors, but as equals. Your technological achievements are remarkable. Imagine what could be accomplished if they were directed toward exploration and discovery, rather than domination." Krez Tower studied the data again, centuries of military conditioning battling with the undeniable truth before him. The foundation of the Vrail Imperium, the justification for their conquest, had been built on a misconception. "You could have destroyed us," he said finally. "Your Liberty Protocol clearly gives you control of our systems. Why offer peace instead?" "Because annihilation perpetuates the cycle," replied Voss. "And because humanity learned long ago that the most dangerous opponent isn't the one with superior weapons, but the one with nothing left to lose. We don't want the Vrail desperate. We want you as partners." Throughout the command deck, Vrail officers watched their admiral awaiting his decision. Throughout the Imperium, similar scenes played out as the truth of the cataclysm spread through quantum channels the Vrail could no longer control. Krez Tower straightened his posture, all four primary limbs extending in the ancient gesture of profound decision. "I, Admiral Krez Tower of the Vrail Imperium, accept your offer of negotiation." The words, broadcast across 17 star systems, marked the end of the Vrail's age of conquest and the beginning of something new. A coalition of species united not by force, but by choice and mutual respect. As the Liberty Network vessels took up honor positions around the endless dominion, Captain Meridian Voss offered a slight bow of acknowledgement. "Admiral, humanity is young among the stars. We have much to learn, but we've discovered one truth worth sharing. The universe is too vast, too wondrous, and too dangerous for any species to face alone." Krestar's membranes fluttered in the pattern that indicated profound realization. "You faced no real threat from us, yet rather than destroy us, you became our reckoning in a way I never anticipated. Not through superior force, but through superior understanding." Dr. Ilara Frost smiled. "That, Admiral, is humanity's true strength. Not our weapons or our technology, but our capacity to turn enemies into allies, to find connection where others see only conflict." Across 17 star systems, the news spread. The fearsome Verail Imperium had been brought to negotiation not by a superior armada, but by a single human vessel that carried something more powerful than any weapon: the possibility of a different path forward. The tenacity had lived up to its name, and the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter with possibility.